Hi, my friend, it's Pat Sloan here. Let me tell you first, I'm filming this at the end of July. It's like July 26th because I finished the Liberty. So excited, and I did a bunch of videos, so this is going to show you the whole process and then I'll hang it up behind me. But before that, the socialites finished. I went ahead and put all my blocks up here because now I can work on setting it during my time here in August. So let me show you a few close-ups. This is the worksheet and it's laid out pretty much like it, which you can find at the project page on my website. I will change a few things around. I'll look at where maybe now that I can kind of see it in real fabric, and I also didn't do things 100% to that drawing, but like here there seems to be like a lot of green, and also I said I might change some of the setting ones, like these, these that there and there that have green. I might change those setting blocks away from green, but it's finished, so that makes me think, well, no, I'm just gonna rearrange because it's done. I just have to sew it together. But you can switch things around. You can switch blocks around if you think a balance after you see it all together with your fabrics is a little better, like maybe something is a little too heavy in color, like here, that's too heavy. I need this to be lighter ones. Let me just change that one and show you. This there, I just switched that out and with actually down here, just flip them. And that looks a lot better. I might actually take this one now because that is, kind of the same fabrics in a way, and do something with one of the other ones. But anyways, that's where I'll be with this. I'm going to leave it up here and play around with it. I'll probably do a few little clips like this to show you what I'm thinking. Like I said, I am not sure I will change things because it's done and it will be easier just to go ahead and sew it up and move on, but I might change a couple of them. Who knows? I'll see when I actually start playing around with it. I also had that cross stitch that I was working on, the Cherished Friend, so let me just show you a little clip there. I decided that I did want to use this teal, and I think what I'm going to do is put it here on the wall to enjoy it. But I also thought, what about a little inner border? It'll be less than this, like just a 1/4 inch. See, like just a little tiny touch, something like that. And I will have about this much room around the outside. I'll make it square and a little tiny touch. And then this will also be the binding, because I've found that the little ones, if I use the same fabric for the binding, I'm just a lot happier than a contrast. So yeah, I think that is what I'm going to go with. And this is also an extremely old piece of fabric that, yeah, both of these. So they're very old fabrics. Oh, there's something on the edge of this one still. Doesn't tell us much. Well, maybe The Floating World by Kathy Hall for Andover. Okay. No year. They stopped putting years. Whoops, sorry. They stopped putting years a long time ago. Most of them don't put years anymore. Okay, and how it turned out. Ta-da! Both of these fabrics are really old, so it was really fun to use them, and I went ahead and used this on the back. I still have a little piece of this left, this very old Kona Bay fabric. I loved it. So cute. This cross stitch my friend Barbara found, and a bunch of us are making it together. So link is in the description box below if you want to make a little cherished friend. Yes, so cute. I think I'll hang it in here. I'm not sure. I might hang it in my hallway too. I have a little clip thing for the hallway. Okay, da-da-da-da-da, Liberty Bell. Let me switch it out. Maybe what we'll do is look at the videos first about the process and walking through. So grab your drink. Here we go. Here's what I did. I used the finished size. I never work from the size with seam allowances when I'm trying to figure out units I'm working with. As a pattern designer for almost 30 years, this is how it works best for me. So I determined, originally I went with 6 inches and 3.5 for these states, but then I couldn't have enough for spacers, so I reduced them down because I can tighten them in. Alaska's gonna maybe, maybe I'll chop off a little bit, maybe not. I just sort of rough numbers. Also, this one I could take down a little bit if I had to, but that is what I have. So I will, instead of be cutting a 3-inch, I would not do that. This is the finished size. I'd be cutting a 3.5 inch, and the spacers will all be a 1/2 inch finished. So that means I'll be cutting 1-inch strips, 3 of them, and I'm going to use the red, and I may end up using red all the way through it as much as I can. I think that's going to make it really pop nice. Turns out the Alaska fabric has this really cool saying, "North to the future," and I was able to cut all of this and most of the flag. I mean, I had to cut a little bit off to get it in there, but yeah, I got that. Rather than doing 2 fabrics for this, this was just too beautiful. I had to use the whole thing. What I've got is one section, and then there'll be the star, and then another section. But I'm looking at the balance of scale. This is large scale, large scale, large scale, large scale. And over here are all small, 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 small. So what I think I'll do is, because there's 4 large scale, I will take 2 of them and move it to the lower level over here, and switch them out. And I'll kind of look at color. This one will probably be a dual. This is Louisiana, so I'll probably do 2 of the pieces. Maine, maybe I'll do 2. No, I probably don't need to do 2. Michigan, I might do. No, that's a whole map. I don't want to do that. So Minnesota, I'll probably do 2 as well. And then over here, they're just singles. So because this is tan and it's a little different, and this is white, I'll probably switch a white over here, and then maybe do this darker one. Give a darker one over here. So, and then I can, where's the Illinois? There we go. So I think that will work out. It's going to be a lot of lights, and then I'll break them up with the red strips again. So there'll be red strips in between. And I might see about using some of the, oh, I found this. That's what I found. So I'll have between these little stars, that's what I did, between these little stars and this one right here for all of the strips. So I will be able to get enough. I'll get as much as I can out of this guy. But the longer sections here are 25. So these are both 25 with the seam allowance. So I can make these pieces wide enough to showcase the information. And then over here, because they're also smaller scale, that's just the way it is. I'll make them as wide. I mean, I could do, 2 strips like for Minnesota, to get both of the, like the license plates are kind of fun, and that's kind of fun. So I probably do this one and this one as strips. All right, that's where I am for a side, and then the whole process will be mimicked for the bottom. Will be like I did over here. There it is, and this is actually sewn down. So I've got it sewn down to the middle, and these pieces I just showed you are for right here. I'm on my way. Just a note, sometimes there are states that have one iconic place, like Las Vegas or New York City, that kind of overpower the rest of the state. And this was the only fabric I had for Nevada. But there's Nevada written in there, so I'm good. And Ohio this was really fun. These are, I think, actual places. Like this is an actual place, this Ohio lunch. So I really love that this particular fabric had all of these kind of iconic Ohio things. This is another block that was really interesting to do. This piece of fabric, this was all that I was sent, and it says Nebraska, so I absolutely wanted to use that. And I just found some of the other Nebraska fabrics. This was from the Shop Hop, and I'm going to have to be very careful when I put this border down here. I think it's going to just come right along the edge. And then this print with, one of all the different towns and stuff, and just sort of sayings. But there, see this green? I made it too short when I cut it. So I thought, you know what, it would actually look better to have some of this green from here repeated up there. But I'm endlessly curious, what was the whole piece of fabric like that had this? were there other states on other globes? I don't know. What did that whole what was that whole fabric line about? I'm so curious. If you know, tell me in the comments. I'm working on the top section, and all of a sudden it clicked with me that I had actually done this measurement for the smaller sections up here, and this is actually much larger. So now I'm going back and recutting some of these, and then looking, I can add in, like there was some other fun fabric I can add under Vermont, and then I was able to do bigger West Virginia. And this is a text that is from Country Road Song, which I believe is actually about Virginia and not West Virginia. It's a misconception because he sings Western Virginia because Shenandoah Mountains, but I'm using it here anyways. Okay, so I have to kind of regroup a little bit for the sizes and get that, because it's quite a bit longer. Here you can see, you know, it's I think mine is like 26 to do this section, and they were like 18 up here, so it's quite a bit more. Tennessee is a fun fabric for me because there's a lot of things, like I have driven through Knoxville, it seems like thousands of times. Same with Chattanooga for our trips. And the Appalachian Trail here, the Elvis, Pigeon Forge, Beale Street. There's just so much good stuff on here. Opry House. So the big word Tennessee is here with the square dancing. But and there's barbecue. I mean, I don't want to piece a whole bunch of stuff and make it sort of mishmashy. But I'm thinking what I'll do instead is just pull from here, because it does say Tennessee. I don't think I can get that. I mean, I don't want to make it massive. I'm allocating 5 inches. Hold on, I gotta get that ruler. So I'm allocating 5 inches, which would be, you know, I would get the word, here's 5, get the word Tennessee. If I went up here, I wouldn't get that Tennessee. I'd get Gatlinburg and the top of Chattanooga. But so I think I'm gonna go right through this section and see what I can get in 7.5 inches. This is longer than 7.5, but what I'm thinking is to cut here, take this piece and this piece and sew it together. All right, this is still too long, so if I cut out here, I can get this 7.5. But then I think what I'll do is make it more narrow and then cut the Tennessee for the bottom. Here's how it ended up, which is fine. I like it. It's got some good things in it. Here it is, hanging up behind me. Yay, yay, yay. I've also got the backing and the binding done. And I'll show you a little clip of the backing then. But I also took it outside, and I did a little video of it outside and sort of walked through around the outside of the quilts so that you can see all the blocks. Let's go. I've got it out on the clothesline. Looky, looky, looky. How fun, how fun, how fun. There we go. Ta-da! I'll just go scan around the edges so you can see all the different states. They're not in alphabetical order, but they are kind of grouped as I worked on them. But I had to shift around for, as I said, for size of the fabric piece I would cut, and also for color. So I didn't want to bank too many, like a bunch of dark ones together and light ones together. So there we go. There we go. North and South Dakota are similar fabrics, which is kind of funny. I guess somebody thought that would be a good idea. Okay, the Liberty Bell. It's Hear You, Hear You pattern by Wendy Shepard. And let's take a look at the back where I was doing the strip of different fabrics. I got these fabrics out, which are all like multiple states, like all kinds of states. Route 66. This was a beautiful piece sent to me by one of our friends. Also, this one has some of the territories. I got a Virginia one, more states, 66, more states. And then these two were sent by different friends, and I'm going to put a strip, I'll do it not in the center but to the side of all of these. Like I'll patch them down big chunks, and then these on either side for the backing. And I think I will see if I can use up all those reds that I pulled for binding. This is how the back will look. I will do another section, but more narrow on this side, so that this vertical is kind of offset rather than down the middle. It makes it easier for loading on the long arm, because she doesn't have to center it. The other thing is this fabric that you put at the bottom and at the top. Remember that that will be going on the rollers if you're using a long arm, or even for your own machine. It'll extend past the quilt top on the front, so you'll be trimming it away. So don't put your most precious fabrics here that might get or will get trimmed away. So I have plenty here. There'll still be some on the back, but then there'll be some that'll get, like chopped off there when I trim the quilt afterwards. So just have to cut that one and then put them on. I know somebody's going to ask where this fabric is from, and it is a very old fabric. Some friends sent it. They must have had it in their stash because the company that produced it went out of business in 2017, unless they happen to have found it like on an Etsy seller or something. It was one of the Craftsy fabrics. If you remember Craftsy, they designed their own fabrics as well as the classes and other things they had on their website. But that all closed, went out of business in 2017. And ta-da, that one is done. And thank you to everybody who sent me state fabrics, and I really appreciate all of that, because it would have taken a lot to do it on my own. So it was a very, very fun project for the whole community. And it's now going to be quilted, and I'll decide, I'm going to enjoy it for a while, because I really had a nice time looking through as I worked on each state, thinking about visiting that state, and just great memories. So it's a super, super cool quilt to do for me. And I don't know where its journey will go over time. Who knows? It might go somewhere, but for now it is just going to stay with me to enjoy. And it's a nice size. It's a great size to hang. So that's all the bigger it'll be. Very, very fun. And thank you to Wendy Shepard, my really good friend, who designed the Hear Ye pattern, which you can get yourself. And if you've made one of these, and even if you've already shown it, show it again, because it's been a little while and everybody will have a really fun time seeing it again. That'll be cool. And if you have finished or are working on your socialites, share that as well, because everybody loves to see your blocks and your progress. All right, my friend, next week we will start the free Halloween project that the Fat Quarter Shop has been running as a free mystery here in August, and I am doing mine in September. For those of you who either didn't get to finish them or didn't start yet, you can start with me in September. All right, my friend, I love you. Mwah. Thank you for being here in the Sloan Zone. I will see you online.